How you doing, everybody? It's John. Just coming out to you with a video here, kind of updating you on what I'm doing with the sprint car team here. I've changed some drastic things here. Basically, I have left competitive sprint car racing and am going to be building a car to run in the Pennsylvania Hillclimb series, doing what's called Hillclimb racing. It's basically we race on public roads up a mountain or a hill. With our ultimate goal is to be running the 2023 Pikes Peak Hillclimb in Colorado. That will be about a year from now, about 11 months from this video. I have a lot going on with it. I've spent a lot of time in researching. I drove out to PRI, basically the race car trade show, and talked to all the major manufacturers on what options I had in terms of engineering the car, and what direction I wanted to go with it, what my ultimate goals were, all that stuff. So I came up with a pretty solid combination using so many different resources and so much help. So much people were eager to help just because it's such a different project. And I guess before I get too carried along, I'll let you guys see the car here. I have a lot going on with it. There's a lot going on in the shop also, so you can see there's going to be a little bit of a mess while I'm selling off the rest of the sprint cars, the regular sprint car stuff. And also I'm continuing to work out of here as a business. So keep that in mind and bear with me on the mess. But here's the race car as it sits now. So basically here is a Chevy LS powered, it's a hermaphrodite. it's a sprint car that's going to be set up to go left and right. You can see here the front end, for you guys that are familiar with sprint cars, the front end has what they call a 6-pin front end, and you can see how it has extra holes here, here, and here, and that's for extra studs. So we'll run 6 studs coming out of here, and then these will bolt on with these big 1-inch nuts. This is something they use on pavement sprint cars a lot. It's something that they used to use on all sprint cars until I think the late 90s. My first sprint car had a 6-pin front end. So I know they're very sturdy, but they are very heavy compared to the Wide 5 or whatever you want to call the new ones. But I was fortunate to come across these because they still use them in dirt modifieds and I think 1 or 2 other things. But I got some old knuckles here from a friend of mine who might be helping out on this project. More on him later. This is what they call a stepped hub. So that has like inside it's got the shank, and then it steps down, and then it has another shank. So it has a lot more support to ride on when you have a lot of force on it. And with racing on pavement only, this is going to see a lot of lateral force, I guess you want to call it, and that's going to affect how the car handles and everything. So we want to minimize any of that. You can see on a standard sprint car, this is you got 2 bars on this side and then 1 on that side. Well, once we get our chassis mods done, we'll have 4 bars here, here, and then here and here. So it'll replace the 1 bar that's on there now. This is already a custom built front end by RPM chassis, built by Russ Minton himself. It's extra wide. I think it's a 52-inch is what we spec'd out. And it has adjustable camber sleeves in it by Fast Axle. And I've been working with those guys for a little bit on my regular sprint car, and now I'm going to be incorporating it into this car. I'm pretty excited to work with that. Basically, that allows us to adjust the suspension very easily at the track and not have to worry about putting in different settings and everything like that. You literally pull out the kingpin, you pull off the knuckle, you pull out the sleeve, you put your new sleeve in, and then you reverse the process, and it takes all of 5 minutes. So moving on, for you traditional sprint car people, this will look a lot different. So this is a Chevy LS Gen 4. It is a 5.3 liter. It's got the really good factory heads, the 799 heads. So that's a little bit higher compression. We're going to run this motor naturally aspirated. And we are going to be putting it on a Holley HP EFI system. So it's going to have a computer like any normal regular road going car. This one we're not going to be getting crazy with. We're going to be putting it'll probably make about 500 horsepower when it's done to the crank. You can see here we were experimenting with this power steering pump. The problem with this is the rotation's wrong. It was kind of foolish of me to think that would work. So I'm working on getting a pulley system that will mount both the fuel pump, and the power steering pump down over here, and the alternator should be somewhere around either here or here. So we're working on a oiling system also. I'm not sure if I can afford a dry sump system, so we're looking at an AccuSump system right now. It's used in a lot of road racing applications, and I think it would work great for us for right now. And that's just basically a tube here. I'm going to mount it here, and it'll plumb into the oil system here, and basically that'll allow it to keep enough oil in it around a high G turn, so that it's not starving the engine of oil, which will obviously kill engines. So moving on, you can see I've started some of the wiring already. The wiring for me is a new thing here. So I'm just basically laying it out, just kind of getting an idea where I want things to go. So I got, that's where I think I'm going to put the battery, where I think I'm going to put, where I think I want the switches is like right here. So we're still working through some of that stuff. You can see I have a Mach-in steering here. I will be using my old sprint car steering. I checked with GME, as you can see pictured here, who also built my other one. I checked with them, and they said that go ahead, yeah, you're great to use that. So I'm good. I'm gonna actually have them rebuild this one, so I have two. Moving on, I guess you could see a little bit about the flywheel in there. Obviously, you don't see them in traditional sprint cars, but yes, it's going to have a transmission. Winters Performance is actually building that right now, as well as our rear end, which is a completely custom quick change rear end, but more on that later. That's going to be pretty exciting. The transmission, though, is about the size of that box. That's why I have it down there. And that's the fuel regulator I was messing with on where I can mount it for locations and stuff. Obviously not in the driver's compartment, but we're working on that still. So moving on, you can see I got a Kirky sprint car seat. The good thing about Kirky seats is that they are modular. So if I wanted to change the top, if I can't get enough visibility out of this side, I can change it out for a drag racing type setup, and it'll have equal vision on both sides. A lot of the stuff from this car will transfer over to this car. The tail tank assembly will, the steering, like I said, will, the rear bird cages, which are these guys right here, this whole assembly, since I'm keeping a torsion bar rear end, same suspension style here, I'm going to be able to use that on this car because of the options that we used in building the rear end from Winters. If that made any sense at all. moving on. We are starting to figure out where things are going to go for the fuel system, like I said. So the fuel, ideally the fuel pump will be mounted right here. In this area. And then the power steering pump, which is this, will be right behind it. So they'll be mounted together. I'll give you the fuel pump here. So that's a Waterman pump. I bought this used off of my buddy. I believe this is a Waterman 400 or 450. I have to confirm with him on that, but it's way more than what we need. So I went overkill on it, because when we do build the engine for Pikes Peak, it's going to have to be serious power. We're talking probably north of 800 horsepower, at least. So we were out there this year, and the air will get you, let me tell you. Like, we were up there, my wife and I, watching practice runs. And the air was so thin up there that we could barely breathe. We got sick. We got altitude sickness. So, and then also our vehicle getting up there, it was a brand new vehicle, and it barely wanted to move. So we're going to have to overcome that with this. And I think we're going to nail it. It's all right, guys. Hope you like this little video of me explaining things. I know it's not much on why I left sprint cars or anything like that, but the real big honest thing was I wanted to go and I want to race Pikes Peak. That's my dream. And in order to do that, I have to commit myself 100%. I could sit here and tell you it was politics or tires or costs or whatever, but you know, I had a great crew, have a great crew. They still support me. And you know, those guys, they want to do sprint cars, so they're going to be going out and doing more sprint car stuff too. But they also said that they want to be a part of this thing on top of that. So I'm all about it. I love sprint cars still. My brother still races sprint cars, so I love the sprint car community. Love my sprint car family. I just I got another dream, and I think I've achieved all I'm going to achieve in sprint cars, at least for now. It might not be forever, you know. I might come back to them, you know, sooner than I think. But I have goals that I want to accomplish, and I have to devote myself in order to do that. So not only my time, my money, but my skills that I need to develop, and you know, building my relationships within the hillclimb community is very important also. We went out to a race, the Devil's Despair Hillclimb. That was amazing. We learned a lot. We got, you know, introduced ourselves to the Pennsylvania Hillclimb Association, and you know, awesome group of people. And it really lets car builders, be car builders. There's very few rules in terms of the technology that you use. It's all pretty much safety based and power to weight ratio based. You know, there's obviously different classes for like open wheel cars and stuff like that. It's pretty complex on how they break down the classes, but I'll get more into that later. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate your support, and hope you come out and see us race in this hillclimb car. If not, you know, I'll post as much content as I can on this deal. It's kind of a new deal for me to post content like this. I'm going to try it out, and the reason why I am is because I think it's such a cool project. I've come across a lot of people that want to know more and they want to see more. So it's like, you know, might as well just start doing this. My videos might suck at first, but they'll get better as I go. All right, guys. Love you.